All right, thanks for staying with us. It is arguably that a greater proportion of Nigeria's sporting success is attributed to women, both in terms of impact and sheer numbers. Nigerian women stack up immensely well against their male counterpart. In spite of this, there has been an almost systematic neglect of women in sports in Nigeria. The most obvious example, and it is only because the most populous black nation in the world is obsessed with football, right? Is the Nigerian Super Falcons, and they are winning national football teams on the continent, yet they have not been acknowledged. They have represented Africa at every edition of the FIFA World Cup, Women's World Cup, since the inaugural tournament in 1991. With this amount of success, we are really, really curious to why women in sports who are obviously triumphing never get the attention, and how can we drive investment towards female sports in Nigeria. Now, please let us hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. You can also tweet at us at PlusTvAfrica with the hashtag WeShow. So I was going to ask you, how well do you think women's sports are supported in this country?
I mean, I don't think it's been supported enough, because if you ask a lot of females, they don't even know if there's female sports that's actually really functioning in Nigeria. And the only time you get to hear about it is probably when we have to go for maybe the Olympics or the World Cup and all of that. And for me, I was very...
And we're always qualifying.
In fact, this one that we didn't even... the fact that we didn't even qualify for...
the Super Eagles.
For the female, did we qualify?
Yes, now.
Oh, we did? Okay, so, I mean, you see...
you don't even know. That's my problem.
That's what I'm saying, that we were not paying... I don't want to say I am not paying attention to it, but if it's actually as prominent in the news or it's being talked about as much, I would know, and a lot of other people would know, because, I mean, I don't think they're throwing a lot of light on female
That's
sport.
why we're here.
And in fact, when I saw the topic, I was like, I'm really happy to see this, because I mean, maybe to urge a lot of women in Nigeria to get involved in sports, because I know that, I mean, aside from the recognition and maybe some other benefits, it's actually really good for women to get involved in a couple of things that men are doing. So please,
let me bring in Lucy first before I ask.
Okay. Don't worry, I would love our guests to discuss.
See your life.
You
see, but you know
this thing that one is doing.
But no, let me expose both of you. This is the reason I decided to choose this topic, and I put two of you inside this time, because the truth is that a lot of times we really do not even care.
No, it's not about we do not care. The key thing is that it's just like politics. When you want to listen to what is going on in the news with women, what you hear most of the time is the women who are in sports are not well taken care of. It's all about the negatives. It's all about the negatives.
So it's not even so much of negative for me.
Yes.
It's the fact that as women, right, you can imagine the shock that I felt that we have not lost any qualification of since 1991. I said,
imagine that.
Is it not the thing that we're supposed? So why are we not putting our money where the people are winning? So we're busy going to go and destroy stadium because somebody did not qualify. Right? It doesn't make any sense. So we need to ask our guests. Well, that's the first question we're asking. Bukola Olopade is a friend of the house. He's the CEO of Nilayo Sports Management Limited, a sports management and marketing company who has worked with some of the biggest names in the world of sports, like the IAAF, the CAA, and the AFN. He has also served in various leadership capacity as president of the Nigerian Wheelchair Basketball Federation, Ogun State Commissioner for Youth and Sports, and special advisor to Ogun State Governor on youth and sports. And he's joined us live in studio. Hey, Bukola. I'm super excited to be having you today.
You like to go down memory lane.
Yes. Yes, no. We have to keep on reminding them why you are the Don in this game. But thank you so much, because you always make our time to discuss with us.
And it is always a pleasure to come on this table.
Oh, thank you.
You guys are amazing. Always.
Thank you. Bukola, this women in sports is quite interesting. You know why I called you for this conversation? Because first of all, you take special interest in investing in women. As female athletes. I've seen it happen.
Thank you.
So why are we not paying so much attention? Because give it to the women. Let's even pick, first of all, our football team, the Super Falcons. They are doing exceptionally well. And every time we're always hearing Super Eagles, Super Eagles, Super Eagles, Super Eagles. Super Falcons, they qualified. So what's the gap? Why is female sports not taken seriously as much as we take the male teams and all of those sports seriously in this country? What exactly is the challenge?
Thank you very much for this topic. And I think what the most typical example is what we've just seen on the table.
Yeah.
I've always emphasized the fact that girl power, feminism, women standing up for women lacks a lot of substance in this country. It is strange that a lot of women do not understand how much women have put into winning laurels for Nigeria. It is strange that you, my colleagues on this table today,
I mean, it's not something that we are proud of, but we are vulnerable enough to be honest about it.
And I respect.
Don't expose us too much.
And I respect that, because in the Yoruba parlance, we Yorubas would say "Ile Latin Kesho Rode," which simply means charity begins at home.
At home, yeah.
The people who should drive the trust and love and support for women sports, I've been corrected not to call it female sports. Women's sports are the women. And we have a lot of powerful women in corporate Nigeria today who should come out and put their money where their mouth is. Unfortunately, you've hit the nail on the head. There's a reluctance to support women's sports. Just as there's a reluctance to support the biggest sporting winning tool Nigeria has ever seen, para sports.
The women.
No, para sports. So
that's the Paralympics.
I know we're
Olympics,
I know we're here to discuss women, but I'm telling you that these two categories of
They
sport
suffer the same fate.
yes, and yet they bring you the biggest laurels. Wrestling, you think of Olagunroye. Athletics, you think of Ese Brume, Tobi Amushon. Football, you think of Oshola. You think of success. I mean, they've won in Africa. The Falcons are the biggest winning machine in terms of laurels. They've won more Nations Cup than any country, male or female, ever put out there. Yes. And yet, as I just noted on one platform that I belong to, that it's time to stop crying over spilled milk. The Super Eagles painfully, my company lost millions of expected earnings for us not going to the World Cup. But immediately we changed our strategy, we changed our thought process to the women. To the women. And this was why when we signed the deal with Stanbic IBTC to support NFF and football, we were very glad that Bridget Oyefeso, the brand manager, and the MD, Dr. Shogunle, specially created a clause in the agreement for women sports journalists, because that is also an area that is suffering. And we must continue to look at bespoke investment of that nature to support women. I can go on and on. Do you know the under-17s have also qualified for India, or almost qualifying? You know the Falconets have also qualified for the World Cup. And the Falcons have qualified for the Nations Cup in Morocco, which will take them, I'm very sure, because 4 teams will be qualifying. Hello, I'm very sure the Falcons will be among the 4 that will go to New Zealand. And yet, and I'm not just talking about football alone, across the spectrum of sports, and yet, people are reluctant to invest in women's sports.
Whose role is it to invest in women's sports?
Every one of us, it's exactly what you're doing, and I applaud what you're doing. Call private organizations, because government, listen, I don't care what you say about government. Government puts equal money, equal spend for both male and female sports. That is why we get to hear about the successes that have been achieved. But the chunk of the money that has gone into women's sports has come from government. Government cannot do it alone. Ironically, I did not see the topic of this discussion today, but I had spent the whole of today visiting MDs of banks, of gaming companies, of some lifestyle companies, only because of the Nigerian Women Football and the Nigerian Women League. And I sent you...
Yes, I was just going to ask you, what's the deal with 35 million deal that for Edo Queens? What's that about?
So I want to especially thank Engineer Adeleke, because a few months ago I called on Engineer Adeleke and I said, look, listen, we need to support the girl child. You spend too much money looking after sports here and there. He's just built a 4 billion naira sports complex in Osun State. Guess the people that are utilizing it, Osun Babes. I said, so if you're putting so much into women's sport locally, I need you to come and support the league. And the discussion was just for 10 minutes. And within 10 minutes, he committed 50 million to the Women League. That is why the Women League is working today, because of Engineer Adeleke and Peculiar. And to my greatest pleasant surprise, as I was driving to your studios,
that was when they just signed
I saw the breaking news
deal.
Today. The very hardworking deputy governor of Edo State, oh, by the way,
My state, yes.
who also has done so much for women football and women's sports, decided to pay him a visit in Osun State and secure a sponsorship deal for the Edo Queens, a team that is also doing very well. And for me,
So
today
Edo
is
Queens
just
is a football
one of the most successful in Nigeria.
Wow.
I mean, you need to look at states like Rivers State. You need to look at Delta State and look at what Tony Okowa is doing with women's sports. And that's why I said government keep piling a lot of money. Honorable Sunday Dari has done a lot for female sports, especially when you look at what the support is giving to wrestling, because of the women who are thriving there. Weightlifting, women are doing great things there. And that is why government will continue to play a role. But we need private organized companies to come and support women's sports, especially when you look at the amount of women who are in charge of sponsorship and brand management in various companies.
And usually, ironically, most of them are actually women.
90%. I mean, this is the industry that I work in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right, 90% are women. And when you discuss women sports and para sports with them, they'll be like, what is the return on investment? And this is why the gentleman I spoke with today from one of the gaming companies was very, I mean, it won my heart, because his is that we'll do CSR for para sports and we'll do
Proper investment
for women's sport, women football, because of the quantum achievement that they've brought to the table.
You see, okay, so how do we correct this narrative? Because yes, the women are successful, right, in this, especially with the football. Again, yes, I remember the Olympics one. A lot of women actually brought back, good medals.
Yes.
Well, how can we change this narrative? How can we put the women at the forefront? Do you think the patriarchal society that we belong to, do you think it has any effect on why this recognition is not even happening? Because we're doing exceptionally well. It's a no-brainer for you to invest your money. I mean, America, right? I think it was the US. The captain, she had been fighting, the football captain, she had been fighting for a long time for equal pay. And I think America just signed that deal, correct me if I'm wrong, where they would match their pay exactly. Because they are also doing exceptionally well. So just it's not even a Nigerian thing. They are also yes, it's a global thing. Yeah. They are doing exceptionally well, but they are not given the same recognition as the male football team that don't come back home with nothing, but they come back home with something.
Always.
Yes, all the time. So how can we correct that narrative?
Again, because I do not want us to mix issues. In Nigeria, there is a lack of enthusiasm for the support of women's sports. We almost come to the table and say enough is enough.
Yeah.
Women, for many years, women have come back home with the laurels that has eluded Nigeria at the Olympics, Commonwealth Games. And we can go on and on where Chioma Ajua is literally the only single gold medalist we've had in the Olympics, a woman.
Miriam Yali.
I was in Belgrade a few weeks ago. I was in the stadium when Ese Brumen literally sparked up the stadium with a jump, and everybody screamed, "Oh wow, where is this woman
And she's Nigerian.
We actually defeated, we were ahead of Great Britain and Canada and so many big countries just because of that one silver medal at the World Indoor Championships just a couple of weeks ago. How many people can even remember Ese Brume achieved that feat? Because if we do, then we'll be anxious to want to put our money there. We'll be anxious to want to make Ese Brume an ambassador of lifestyle industries, oil and gas, where she can talk about supporting the girl child, where she can talk about supporting the power of women, which we all must come to the table and not just pay lip service to, but ensure that things are happening.
One hot part. You know what? You need to take a break. There's a part you talk. You say brand ambassador. We'll come back to that. So let's take a break. We'll be right back. All right, so if you just tuned in, we're having an amazing chat with Bukola Olopade on driving investments towards female, or we call it women's sports, right, in Nigeria. Now, please let us hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation, send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. You can also tweet at us at WeShowAfrica1 with the hashtag WeShow. All right, Isi, you were going to say something before we went on the break.
I was going to ask you what you touched on something that had to do with brand ambassadorship, and I was going to ask you in terms of what are the ways that these individuals can actually step up to actually encourage the women in sports, because we do not have brand ambassadorship. They're not giving that cognizance
mentorship
be given.
Look, listen, in the final analysis, influencers have become a very important aspect of our day-to-day living, but they've always been. Mentorship has helped so many society to equip the younger ones for tomorrow.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just speaking to a gentleman this morning about how I needed him to mentor my daughters, who are 26 and 25, on how to understand the economy, how the economy of Nigeria works, so that because they want to come to Nigeria and invest and do things, and I'm saying you cannot do it without understanding, so you need to be mentored.
Yes.
And that is the same thing we can achieve by creating ambassadorial recognition and status for these women who are doing so well. I mean, not just women, including men. I mean, my own heart goes to the para-athletics. The para people,
Amazing.
every year, every major competition, every major event, they come tops. I can tell you for free that only a few organizations have put their money to support them. I was the president of the Wheelchair Basketball Federation, where for many years we were able to raise a lot of money through my friend Victor Oche, who just literally brought all his friends to fund that sport. But without moving away from the core discussion today, which is women, I just feel, and I get really emotional when I discuss this aspect of sports.
Yeah.
I just feel there is a reluctance to accept that this most success that we've achieved are coming from these two cadre of sports people. Because how else would people be crying?
So there's a reluctance, there's a resistance. Why is there that resistance? So you touched on ambassadorial stuff, and I was going to ask you that because again, even a lot of people have come under fire. I will not bring your own fire, but a lot of people have come under fire that you guys would prefer to pick up music artists.
My fire.
You will pick up music artists and make them your brand ambassador for a sporting event, right? You pick up what's it called, actors, actresses. You pick up the reality TV shows, but the real core people that are the sports people that you're supposed to make the face of the probably your events and all of that, we don't have that. So how else do you want to now encourage? Because you feel like maybe their brand is not big enough. You know, you cannot take away the fact that there's brand capital in when you want to pick up those ambassadorial positions.
Yeah.
But you are the one as the management that is supposed to build that brand capital. You literally, I see that there's a lot of laziness when it comes to that, because that is a big way to like pivot the what's it called, this lack of recognition that we are complaining
Awareness
about,
for
right?
for the
If we start
sports.
to pick the right people and make them brand ambassadors, you understand? It changes the whole narrative. It just takes them from here to here.
To
People
the
now
next
begin
level.
to, you know, they're not curious to understand, okay, why is this person worthy of this? But you see, a lot of people are in charge of all those brand recognition and brand ambassadorial positions and all of that, or crowning, or whatever you want to call the thing. They are very lazy. They'll rather pick someone that probably has, you know, a very big brand and all of that. They're not ready to work with some of these athletes from scratch, even though that the athletes are doing well. Ese Brume is one of, you've been calling Ese Brume. She came back to Nigeria, you know, went on I think a church to take the medal because she felt like, you know, she had prayed for it and all. I mean, this girl brought back a gold medal.
Silver.
Or was it a silver medal?
Silver.
Okay, she brought back a medal. Let's just
No,
leave it
a very
there.
important
Silver
medal.
Yeah. So tell me, why has any probably energy company or whatever, why have they not picked her up as a brand ambassador? Or rather pick somebody that stayed 90 days in a house.
It is the
You know,
same.
so why?
It is the same reason why Waze and PlusTV have not called her for an interview to showcase what she's
So
achieved.
he had to.
You have to
You have to
throw
do
it
it.
back.
And I remember that was what I started with. You, for example, I remember calling you one day when different women were calling me, have you seen what your friend posted? That means you're an influencer. You have a voice. You need to start talking about these women. Many of you women are doing great stuff with your own private pages on Instagram
Spaces.
and Twitter. And let's all collectively talk about those women. Why are we still screaming about a World Cup that we are not going to? When we have women who are preparing July,
This one.
just
They're
around the corner, qualified.
So-
All three categories, 17s, 20s, and the seniors. I mean, I'm sorry, again, from a success achieved by this same NFF, with a woman, again from your state, Aisha Falode, under the leadership of Amaju Pinnick, you can condemn Amaju Pinnick from now to tomorrow. That is your problem. But he has achieved a lot, placing emphasis and importance to women. Hence, he organized the Aisha Buhari Women Football Tournament
Yeah.
to put in the right position the place of women and the successes they keep bringing to the table. And I don't care how people discuss it. I don't care if I'm going to get a backlash for saying this. We have 3 teams qualified. I can't be crying about the Super Eagles not going to the World Cup. I'm pained. I was pained, but I've moved on. I want to do business with women. I want to do business with the women of football. I want to bring money.
Okay, let me throw it back. Wait, now he's throwing back. Let me throw it back at you.
No, I mean, I agree with you that we're all guilty.
Wait,
Everybody will take a picture of the
But I am not.
Because I was
let me
about
ask you a
to.
question.
Nilayo.
Sorry, Isi, had the men not qualified, would you have had time to say you want to now? Because it's almost like
Like
the
the
women
first-
say, yes,
the men were the first people.
The men are always your first point of call. The women were now a second thought, like an afterthought.
When was the match against Ghana played?
About 2 weeks ago.
March. Nilayo signed the deal to support women football in December with Peculiar. Nilayo took women football to 5 different banks. Nilayo did over 15 presentations to organizations just for women. Aisha Falode will be the first to say that Nilayo is a pro-women company. So I can never be guilty. And when I was commissioner for youth and sport in Ogun State, in the fourth, all my captains at the Ogun State teams were all women, always, because they lead well, they run things well, they made life easier. And when you come to Nilayo Sports Management Limited, you were part of it. You know, women have always taken the lead, not because of anything, but because they bring value to the table. They bring value. I mean, I'm not trying to patronize. I'm being real now. They bring value to the table, and it is high time we started supporting women's sports.
So
In
I
terms
wanted
of
to
women-
quickly
okay,
find
go
out,
ahead.
like, I mean, we're talking about the government or the individuals that are basically supporting. How much energy are you actually putting to maybe like carry the media alongside with your activities? Because I mean, I know that right now the media is like the strongest means of tool at the moment, and you know the way we talk about these people inviting actors and musicians to attend their events. I'm sure the reason why they're doing that is because they are trying to get the fans of those people.
Yeah.
They're trying to get publicity. So me, I'm saying that as you're doing this hard work, as you're moving from one step to the other, if the media is actually following you back to back, we would all be informed, we would all be invested. Because I know that as much as people say women don't really support, as much as you put it in our faces, we are definitely going to like build or push that, you know, movement. So I feel like the media should get as involved as you are, so that every step of the way, as you're achieving, you know, your next hurdle. Okay, in December this happened, but people didn't really hear about it. People didn't hear about it.
We got a lot of accolades from other media houses. I'm surprised. I'm sure your sports desk spoke about it. I'm very sure of that. But let me even shock you again. You know Sheyi Johnson, former CEO of Nilayo, project manager, who has now branched out to own his own sports management company, Brussels. The first project he undertook, Ogun Women Race, and is calling for cancer awareness, is calling for violence against women awareness for his bespoke race. That means the mentorship I gave to him at Nilayo is again reflecting on women, the power of women in sports, and how we must use sports to empower women. So I feel morally, I have a right to scream out to every one of us to come out and support women's sports and women in sports. You underestimate how much good you're doing to society with what you put into play for women. Because in the final analysis, you guys are the controllers of nations and you're the controllers of homes. And until we start to empower you correctly and rightfully, we just continue to complain about our country, about our ways. I have a strong feeling that when the woman is given the chance to excel, Nigeria will be a better country.
I like the fact that you said women should be empowered. Okay.
Absolutely.
Now, in terms
and women should empower women.
And women should empower women. However, I need us to throw light on scouting. How do you scout women? How do you pay more attention to women who are interested in going to the field of sports? Because back in the days, or I don't know how they do it now, but the bottom line is what they used to do is they take the men out, they get them to
I'm happy you said back in the days.
To play with to play in a game
and
or
they
play
say
a game.
you're still and cook with mom.
Yes, but the guys do this and they give them more attention when they're doing what they're doing, or playing football or doing whatever they're doing, so that scouters can actually see them and use them to make more money or sell them to a club.
No,
so how do you introduce women to sports using scouters?
By giving the girl child the freedom to go out and excel in a God-given skill and talent.
That has not answered the question. How do you lead them to get it?
It starts from the home. When you notice that your girl possesses a talent, allow her to go out and practice and get involved in competitions, and that child will be scouted. It is the same thing. It is the same system that is being used to scout boys, that is being used to scout. Aziza Oshola he plays in Barcelona. Let me shock you. Something strange happened 3 or 4 days ago. The El Clasico for women, Barcelona versus Real Madrid, was played in front of 91,535 fans. World record. So if you're watching me as a business person and you're not putting your money in women's sports, especially women's football, you are missing out in the money, the future money that is coming into the space. Watch out. The women game is going to shoot up, and those of us who are already in it will make more money when you are scrambling to come and join us.
So I'm enjoying this conversation because it's really making me think deeper and just wondering how best we can, you know, make this as loud and as big as we should. I know that, you know, in you know, other countries like the US and the UK, secondary high school students are being, you know, nudged to be good at their grades, so that by the time they're going to university they get scholarships and all of that.
We don't have that.
We don't have that. So if it's possible for us to actually develop some type of system, in the sense that these kids that are the athletes that really want to, you know, go into sports, people should actually, you know, come to the secondary school. Like, let's start building the culture.
I agree with you.
I mean, because it's something that these kids work hard because they know that, okay, you know what, we want scholarship, we want to go to good universities, we want to be able to get free tuition.
So there's an end game.
Do you understand? Because it's what everybody's looking out for, and most of these guys, they work so hard, they're training back to back to ensure that they qualify. And I think when they do all those school sports, like maybe inter-house sports, or, you know, some games between one school and the other, they're always they always have scouters that come to those locations to ensure that, okay, from the young age, these guys are being out to. We have to do more.
Thank you for that brilliant analogy, because again, scouting starts from where they are playing and practicing school sports, for example. And I challenge you, Essie Brume and Co were scouted from schools. I was there. First time Essie Brume jumped in Asaba, I was there as a schoolgirl. You know, and you can go on and on. You discover that all the talent, male or female, were discovered from school sports. But remember the last time I was on this desk, we had a brilliant discussion on how the scholarship system must be introduced so that indigent, look, 80% of the people who play sports, I don't care what the sport is, are indigent boys and girls. And a lot of them are also academically gifted. But unfortunately, we've not created a system that would also give them the opportunity to play sports and still excel in their academics. And I agree with you, that needs to be done. I'm a businessman. I'm no longer in the system of making policies. And if I find myself in the nearest future in a position to make policies, hopefully one day soon, then such a thing will be visited by someone like me. But I agree with you. We're talking and people are watching. That needs to be done.
It needs to.
So in wrapping up this conversation, as we drive conversations towards, we must commend the companies that have so far invested.
Stepped up.
I mean, it's a huge investment. I think Stanbic IBTC, right?
Absolutely.
Did to the female. I mean, this new one you just sent to me now, the peculiar
engineering.
Yeah, engineering. So it's fantastic, right? So as we wrap up the conversation on investment, right, for women's sports, right? I'm just thinking in my head, how can we, because they're already successful, I mean, you said the Edo Queens are doing well and all of that, how can we start to organize internal engagement with the women athletes? So let's even leave out maybe qualifying for World Cups, Olympics and all of that. The way you have your grassroots, thank you, the way you have your, what do they call them, the male team, canopilas and all of that, do we have those kinds of tournaments that we can start to push and say, you know what, so we can encourage, okay, the men are not watching, don't worry, we go and watch ourselves, you know, play. Can we start to encourage and foster that internal sports within states, within, you know, so that we have more, you know, awareness for this team and maybe more buying into promoting the woman brand.
And that actually is a fantastic point, because we do have competitions at elite sports for women. Now, your point is that, again, it goes to your topic. We need to put more money into organizing grassroots sports that are kind to women, that can make more girls, the girl child, be discovered as talented people.
Absolutely.
And I think there's an effort, again, from the part of government towards that. There's a huge effort going on towards that. Unfortunately, business is business. A lot of the organizations will tell you that, has she won the World Cup? Has she won this medal?
What has she done?
Until you win that thing, they don't want to be associated with you.
Even at that, the men, have they won?
And this was what I said.
But they're popular.
Well,
this was what I said to two of the potential investors in women's sports I spoke with today. I said, this is the time to own it. Grab it, put your money, now that it's obscured, so that when it becomes something that everybody start talking about, you would have been the one who started it.
Tapped into it.
Yeah, it would have been a fantastic investment. I see light at the end of the tunnel if we keep this conversation and this discussion going. Athletics globally is doing a lot for equality, encouragement of women, and this is simply because superstar athletes have always emanated from women. From the days of Flojo, athletics, Flojo and co, are coming down to the ones we have today. Women, Felix and co, and the Jamaican female runners. Athletics have always insisted that if a man is making $10,000 from 100 sprints, a woman is making $10,000. That is why in all our marathons, from the Access Bank Lagos City Marathon to all the races we've done in Nigeria by my company, we've insisted on equal pay. If a man wins $50,000,
you have to match it.
A woman is winning $50,000. That is investing in women and ensuring that more of them take their potential skills and talents more seriously so that they can become breadwinners for their families and become very popular influencers in their societies.
And can make whatever sports they are relevant in.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Well,
Okay, let's take a comment.
Okay, so I have a comment. Good evening, my dear beautiful sisters of What Are You Saying Ways. Concerning women in sports, I think they are not well treated. Look at, for instance, one of the football national team went for a tournament, and instead of appreciating them well and honorably with cash gifts and properties, they were given a mere handshake, just a common handshake. This is not fair at all. Women needs more encouragement to do more. My name is Daniel Hilo, Ways regular fan. Thank you so much, Daniel, for this. I mean, this is really, really true, because I mean, I can imagine after going through, your trainings and even winning something, and you're just giving me a handshake. Meanwhile, if it was probably a male sport, you would have,
You see the men cheering for them.
Again,
it's beyond that.
Again, government should be given credit.
Yes, government have
They've
done
always
well.
been equality.
I mean, they've given them houses. Yes.
The Tigers.
Yes.
They were even more better compensated than the Tigers, the male team.
Yeah, for the basketball, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I do not agree with that.
Comments.
Okay, we just saw
The one I feel we need to emphasize is that more corporate bodies should please come on board and support women's sports.
Yes. If they are asking for ROI, I mean, the question I want to ask them, what's the ROI of investing in the man?
A lot.
You see your problem?
A lot, but I believe strongly that we can make more. We can even make more by investing in women. That's my belief. And you asked a good question. Am I doing this because the male have fallen up by the side on the what? No. We've always wanted to put women sports in the forefront, because I see, and the brains at Nilayo Sports Management would always tell you, we did a research. It was actually some gentlemen in the banking industry that commissioned us to do that research on football. When the sort of facts that we came across, the numbers we came across for women football was amazing.
Absolutely.
And like I said, there's light at the end of the tunnel. Yeah. If you don't join the train now,
you're going to miss out.
You'll miss out.
So that's your ROI there. Thank you so much. We just got a breaking news. The former President Goodluck Jonathan has been involved in a fatal auto crash with 2 people killed. But I think there's no... Although the former president escaped the death, he's said to be now safe in his home in Abuja. Wow. 2 of his aides have died in the accident. This just happened. Returning from Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja. Wow.
Wow, that's sad.
So we just pray
thank
that...
God he's okay, though.
Yeah, but
the heart goes out to the people that
passed.
Family.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure.
That was an amazing conversation.
Yes, it was, and I'm really hoping that our audience, if there's anything you guys can actually do to support women,
let's start to put our
money. I didn't taint your women in black with my white, because I have a black heart.
Right. So before we go, do a show. Thank you, Isi. Thank you, Alera.
Thank you.
Before we go, ensure you follow us on Instagram at PlusTvAfrica. You can interact with us further, drop a comment, and more importantly, follow all our engagements on social media. Like, share, invite your families and friends to watch and follow the conversation. Now, if you missed today's quote, here it is again. It's a very short quote. very apt. Sport has no gender.
Absolutely.
From Anonymous, right? So we can actually do well in sports, all gender. See you guys live tomorrow at 8 p.m. Also bring another great conversation to your screen. Enjoy.